Allendale 5th graders, Miss Spickard here. So I talked to Mrs. Brown and Miss Murphy, and we thought that while you were practicing your two-digit multiplication, you would like to be reminded of this song that you once learned. Are you ready? Here we go. Ones to ones and ones to tens, put a zero at the end. Tens to ones and tens to tens, add them together and that's the end. Woo! You're going to be singing that song all day now.
Hey 5th graders, Miss Hayes here from Bethesda Elementary. Just wanted to give you a few reminders about working with fractions. When you're adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators, make sure you find a common denominator first. When you're multiplying fractions, just multiply the numerators and then multiply the denominators. If those fractions are mixed numbers though, make sure you turn them into improper fractions before you multiply. And finally, for division, especially when you're working with those word problems, it's very important which number comes first. For example, if 3 people are sharing 4 sandwiches, you have to put the sandwiches first. Don't divide the people. That would be bad.
Hey 5th graders, it's Miss Davis from Crockett, and today I'm going to show you how you can use a deck of cards to practice your math. We're going to play a little game called Possible or Impossible to work on order of operations. We're going to use all the cards in the deck, so aces are worth 1, jacks are worth 11, queens are worth 12, and kings are going to be worth 13. The name of the game is to see if you can find your target number. You're going to be able to add, subtract, multiply, divide. You can make your numbers into decimals. You could use exponents. You can even use square roots. Don't forget about those grouping symbols because they're going to be the key to finding your target number. Start with 6 cards. You're going to deal them in a circle, and you're going to take that 6th card and put it in the middle. So you have 5 cards around and your target number in the middle. You probably can't see my cards, but I have a 3, 5, 4, jack and king on the outside, and my target number is a 2. So I practiced a little bit before this video to come up with a solution, and I was able to find one. So my equation is possible.
Hey 5th graders, this is Mr. Berner from Clovercroft Elementary. I hope you're doing well and enjoying some time at home with your family, and maybe you're doing some math from time to time as well. Now I know you're all really good at your multiplication facts, and that's great. Love hearing that. But it's important that you stay sharp on those facts as you get ready to head to 6th grade in a few months, because those 6th grade teachers, just like your 5th grade teachers this year, they're going to expect you to know them really, really well. So we need to make sure we're practicing those. Of course, if you have flashcards at home, that's an easy way for you to practice these, obviously. So that would be good. But if not, you can make your own flashcards. There are flashcard apps out there on your devices that you could use. But also there's a number of ways to generate numbers that you could use to multiply, such as dice or playing cards or dominoes or even random number generator apps on your devices. So any of those would work. Now you may be wondering what these multiplication facts are here on the screen, and what these are generally considered to be the most difficult multiplication facts for students when they're learning.
Hi Chapman's Retreat 5th graders, we miss you so much. A strategy that I have for us this week is to choose any number. Think of the day of the week. Think of one random cool number that you want to do. I chose 20. What can we do with that number? Well, we can create some number sentences using all operations. Remember PEMDAS? Our favorite thing? Create different problems using division, addition, subtraction, multiplication. Create some fun ones.
Hi 5th graders, it's Mrs. Hollett from Creekside Elementary School, and I have a math challenge for you today. Can you multiply 3 fractions and get 1? You can only use the digits 1 through 9, and you cannot repeat any of the digits. So you might want to write this problem on a piece of paper, and then I just made some number cards with each digit so that it's easy to move around as I figure out the solution.
Hey 5th graders, Mrs. Daniels here. I hope that you guys are still enjoying your time at home while taking advantage of those resources that we gave you to work on your math skills. Today I wanted to share with you an idea of how you can incorporate some math in your everyday life. So the next time your family decides to order out, I encourage you to calculate the bill. To challenge yourself, you can try to calculate the tax and the tip to get your grand total. This is a great way to reinforce the decimals that we learned this year and to keep you working. So enjoy, and no, you may not use a calculator.
Hello, 5th grade. Mr. Bailey here to remind you math is everywhere. Math is not just here. Math is in dice games. Math is in card games. Math is even on the back of a baseball card. Math is in cooking. You be the one to bring math to life in your house for everybody. You are brilliant, you are creative, and you are loved.
Hi, 5th graders. It's Miss McMurray from Grassland Elementary, and I have a tip about multiplying decimals. I decided to pretend that my kitchen was a restaurant, and I named it Miss McMurray's Magnificent Market. I picked some of my favorite items, and I gave them a random price with numbers that were large enough to make the math challenging and more fun for me to do. Then I said, let's pretend that, for instance, I had 4 servings of chili cheese Fritos, and I'm multiplying decimals now for practice. Remember, the number of digits to the right of the decimal in the problem is the same number of digits to the right of the decimal in the answer. Then I pretended throughout the day I had 2 sandwiches, and I added my total up, and that was my receipt for the day.
Here's Hound Dogs, Mr. Westfield here. Just wanted to remind you, 5th graders, we work on fractions a lot during the school year. You can still work on them through recipes. How can you double it? 3 times the amount, half of it. Also, do you have playing cards? Make these fractions, add, subtract, multiply, divide.
Hey everyone, this is Miss Wiggy from Hillsborough Elementary Middle School. 5th graders, go ahead and keep practicing your multiplication facts as much as you can. If you need a little help with the 9s, always remember your 9s finger trick. Go ahead and put up your 10 fingers. If you're doing, let's say 9 times 4, you're gonna put down your 4th finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, put that down. Then this will help you out with your answers. Now I have 3 left over here. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 9 times 4 is gonna be 36. Go ahead and keep practicing.
Hi! Hello, Heritage Elementary Eagles. This is Miss McGee. I miss you guys like crazy, and I've got a little math tip for you guys today. So think back to when we did geometry and we talked about lines and angles, and see if you can go around your house, see how many perpendicular lines you can find, parallel, intersecting, see if you can find any different acute angles, obtuse, right angles, all that good stuff. Even got some right here. Can you name it? How many degrees is it? So use your imagination, be creative, go on a walk, see how many of those geometry terms you can find.
Hi everybody, this is Mr. Hoogerhide from Perry Creek Elementary School. I'm a 5th grade teacher, and I'm going to do a 5th grade video on the division of fractions. I use Sidewalk Chalk, and we are looking at 2/5 divided by 1/3. Out front, go ahead and use each square of your sidewalk as a new location to put the next step of the problem. From 2/5 to divided by 1/3, we go to 2/5 times 3 over 1. Don't forget that reciprocal, it's very important. Multiply across, and you get 6/5, which is equal to 1 1/5.
Hi 5th graders, this is Mrs. Allen. I'd like to give a special shout out to the 5th graders at Jordan Elementary. Today I'd like to share with you a game that you can play with your family to practice the order of operations. The game is 24, and you will need a deck of cards. You can remove the face cards, and aces are equal to 1. In order to play, each player will draw 4 cards from the deck. The goal is to use each of the numbers you draw once and only once to create an expression that will have a value that is close to 24.
Today we're going to do a quick review of one of our Quarter 1 math standards, order of operations. We use order of operations when we are solving numerical expressions that have more than one operation in it. Sometimes we might see symbols like exponents or parentheses, and we need to know how to address those in order to arrive at the appropriate solution. So when we look at the structure and when we analyze these expressions, we must follow a specific order in order to solve correctly. The first thing we have to analyze for is parentheses. If we see any parentheses, we must solve whatever is inside of them first. Once we've addressed the parentheses, we move to exponents. If you see exponents in the expression, you must solve them next. Once you've addressed your parentheses and your exponents, you look for multiplication and division. If multiplication is the only one of the two that you see, you go ahead and multiply. If you see division and only division, we go ahead and divide. But if you see multiplication and division, we do whichever comes first in the expression from left to right. Once we've addressed the parentheses and the exponents and multiplication and division, we're left with addition and subtraction. And the same process applies here. If we just have addition, we just add. If we just have subtraction, we just subtract. But if you have both, we do whichever operation comes first from left to right in the problem.
Hi 5th grade, this is Miss Lee from Kenner's Elementary. For math today, I would like for you to review volume. Find some things from your house that you can measure, and we're going to review the formula. Volume is equal to length times width times height. And for this box that I measured earlier, the length is 10 inches, width is 7 inches, the height is 5 inches, which will total to 350 cubic inches. Don't forget to unit.
Hey 5th graders, this is Miss Oppenheimer from Lipscomb Elementary. I just wanted to share some fun activities that you could play while you're at home. So for the first game, I chose to play with a deck of cards. However, you could play with dice or dominoes, or just make numbers up on your own. So for the first game, I drew 2 cards and created a fraction. So I drew a 4 and a 3, so I have 4 thirds, and then you choose your operation. So for the first one, I decided to multiply, and I did 4 thirds times 8 fifths equals 32 fifteenths. Then I remembered I needed to change it into a mixed number, which is 2 and 2 fifteenths. Since I didn't have anybody else to play with me today, I decided to just play with a different color and see which color won. In this case, I got 30/56, and then I realized it could be simplified because they were both even numbers, so it's 15/28. For this game, the green marker won because 2 and 2 fifteenths is greater than 15/28.
Hi boys and girls, my name is Lisa Hughes and I'm a 5th grade math teacher at Longview Elementary School. I have 6 tips for you today. Tip number 1, make sure you have a nice comfortable place in your home for your studies. Tip 2, take good notes on new learning. Make sure they're neat so you can go back and reference them at a later date. Tip number 3, show your work. Math is a journey. Just like reading a good book, you want to show your journey all along the way. Tip number 4, ask questions. Questions often lead to the best mastery of math skills. Tip number 5, on your nature walk, look for math within nature. Try dropping a pebble in water. Look at the ripples, then go back and discover how this is a mathematical, natural wonder. Tip number 6, probably my favorite, is to just have fun. Remember, you're not in this alone. We're all in this together, and we love you and we miss you.
Fifth graders, I just wanted to remind you that before school let out, we had covered all of the math skills for the year in math. Just wanted to remind you to log into Khan Academy and continue to work through the 5th grade math course in order to keep these skills fresh. If you happen to finish the math course, you can continue through Khan Academy and take math challenges to test your skills.
Hello 5th grade students, it's Miss Kissy here with today's math tip. Today we're going to talk about dividing fractions. When you're dividing fractions, remember to K, C, F. Keep, change, flip. 3/4 divided by 2/3 would work like this. You would keep the first fraction, 3/4, change the sign from division to multiplication, flip the second fractions. So 2/3 would be 3/2, which is the reciprocal. Then multiply straight across numerators, then multiply straight across denominators. So 3 times 3 equals 9, and 4 times 2 equals 8, which is 9/8. Then we would simplify that to 1 1/8.
Hey, it's Mr. Morrison from Trinity Elementary. I just wanted to share a quick tip with you. When we multiplied by a power of 10, the exponent actually showed us how many places that decimal point's going to move. So in this case, this would move 3 places. So it would move 1, 2, 3. So your answer is going to be 24 and 3/10. Now it's your turn.
Hey 5th graders, it's Miss McCombs at Nolensville Elementary School. I wanted to share a quick tip that you could be doing at home with your families to review some things we've learned in 5th grade this year. A lot of people are making sidewalk chalk art using painter's tape and chalk. They make a section, starting with a square, and then you use tape and you break up the square into different size sections. How does this relate to things we've learned in 5th grade? Well, you can make all of your sections 3-sided figures or 4-sided figures, and then you can classify them. So we classify 3-sided figures as triangles, and you can say it's a equilateral triangle, an isosceles triangle, or a scalene triangle. And you can also classify it by its angles and say it's a right triangle, it's a acute triangle, or it's an obtuse triangle.
Hello friends, this is Mr. Jack from Perry Creek Elementary with today's Math Minute. Today's Math Minute we're going to talk about our friends of 10, which are two numbers that added together equal 10. So we have 10 plus 0 equals 10, 9 plus 1 equals 10, 8 plus 2 equals 10, 7 plus 3 equals 10, 6 plus 4 equals 10, and 5 plus 5 equals 10. That's also a doubles fact. This can be helpful when you have problems to solve, such as 6 plus 4 plus 2. When solving that problem, you can look and say, hey, I know 6 plus 4 equals 10, plus 2 more equals 12.
Hi, my name is Darcy Badioni, and I'm a 5th grade teacher at Scales Elementary, and I've got a tip for you. Previously, we've discussed volume and how we can use what we know to solve. Now, we can easily determine the volume of one layer of this sugar cube box. There are 3 cubes wide by 6 cubes long and 1 cube tall. So I would use my volume formula, length times width times height, to multiply 3 times 6 times 1, and I would get 18 cubic centimeters. Now let's say I wanted to determine what the entire volume of this full Domino's sugar cube box was. I would have to count the number of total layers, or the height of this box, which is 11 sugar cubes. Then I take the information that I previously discovered, 18 cubic centimeters, and I factor in that 11 cubes that would represent the new height. So I would now be doing 3 times 6 times 11. Do you know what the volume of this box would be?
Hi 5th graders, this is Laura Harris at Sunset Elementary School coming to you today with a math tip. When you're talking about division, what are you splitting up and where do those numbers go so that you get the right answer? Remember, whatever you're splitting goes first, goes on top, or it goes inside. So if you have 3 pizzas and you are splitting those pizzas up between 4 people, how much pizza is everybody gonna get? Well, you're splitting the pizzas. So the 3 pizzas goes first if you're writing an expression. It goes on top as the numerator if you're writing it in fraction form. And if you're using long division with the division bracket, it goes inside the bracket.
Hey 5th graders, Mr. Baber here from Thompson Station Elementary. We hope that you've been having fun at home. We hope that you've been staying safe. Hope that you've been washing your hands, spending some good quality time with your families. But we also hope that you've been reviewing some math skills that we taught you this year, because you're definitely going to need them in 6th grade. Trust me, it's all coming back. One thing that we taught you to do this year was how to add and subtract decimals. A few things that you need to make sure that you remember. Number 1, when they are giving you a problem written horizontally, side by side, you need to make sure that you stack them top and bottom. You want to stack it vertically, and when you do so, you want to make sure that your decimals are lined up perfectly. In this case, this one is actually incorrect. And they are stacked vertically with the decimals lined up, but is the decimal in the correct place on the 6? If you don't see a decimal, if it's invisible on a whole number, it always goes at the end.
Hey 5th grade, it's Miss Bass from Westwood Elementary, and I've got a math lesson you can work on at home to remind you about fractions. I made you some cookie bars, even though we said we were going to switch to salads. So I have half of a pan of cookie bars, and I'm going to share these with 4 people. So I'm going to divide or cut half of a pan into 4 parts. If you get one of them, what part of the pan are you gonna get to have?
Hi 5th graders at Winstead Elementary, we miss you. Miss Morgeson and I were thinking of some fun things that you could do for math to keep those skills sharp. So why not measure things? You could measure your cereal boxes. Maybe find the volume of the composite figure. Maybe you could take a recipe from a cookbook, and instead of it being for 4 people,
maybe multiply those fractions of those ingredients and try to make it for 16 people. Also for science, watch a lot of those brain pop videos and learn about the solar system. Go outside and look at the night sky and the fresh, cool air. And I even saw Venus last night and it was beautiful.